Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.
Good morning, everyone. Jim Fitzpatrick. You are watching another edition of The Small Business Show exclusively right here at ASBN.com. Before hiring a salesperson for your small business, there are a few key things that you need to know. Joining us on the show today and back from a little departure here is Melinda Emerson, America's #1 small business expert, author, and the CEO of Quintessence Group. So we are so happy, Melinda, to have you back on the show. It's been a little while, and we have been waiting for this moment. So welcome back to our show. And I know you've been one very, very busy young lady. So thanks for taking the time out of your schedule.
Oh, man, I'm so excited to be here with you today, Jim.
Well, good. So we, as you know, a lot of small business owners out there, we talked a little bit before we got recording, think, hey, all we need is a salesperson and we'll get this to the next plateau. We'll get it to the next level. They're going to get us across the finish line, get us that extra 500,000 or $1 million a year. What say you about that?
Oh, Jim, I hear this so often, right? People think hiring a salesperson is going to save them. It's going to save their business.
Right. Just got to get the right one.
No, that's not it. If you don't have a clearly defined sales process, basically what you're setting yourself up for is to be taken for a bunch of money by a salesperson.
That's exactly right. That's right.
So you've got to have things in place. First of all, you've got to have leads. You have to have a source of leads, a consistent source of leads. Then you have to have your CRM, like where are these leads being stored at, right?
Yeah.
And depending on what kind of business you run, you also need to have a calling system set up, right? So a lot of times if you're in a more sophisticated CRM, it has a dialer right in it so that your salesperson can dial for dollars, right?
That's right.
And that's really going to be important because a lot of times salespeople can BS you, right? They know how to sell themselves as much as they know how to sell your product or service.
No question about it.
You need to have a way to check on what they're doing, right? The other thing you've got to think about is you've got to have, sometimes people wait, every week and meet with their salesperson. Nah, you need to meet with them every day. You need to have a sales huddle with your salesperson every day and remind them of their goals.
Right.
Like I have salespeople that work for me and I'm like, y'all got to make 50 calls a day. I don't care how you do it. You got to come back with 50. And then we look at ratio of calls versus appointments booked versus proposals sent. Like it's really clear. You have to have specific KPIs, key performance indicators, and you've got to track this against sales activity.
That's right.
And you got to re-energize and motivate your team every day. And like one of the things that I do for my salespeople is when they book one, if that person closes, they get a bonus. So my appointment setters are tracking this stuff too. They're like, who'd y'all close? Who was it? They're trying to get their bonus.
Right. And so you have in your organization, you have appointment setters and then you have closers or salespeople. Okay. So it's a kind of a 2-tier system.
I have appointment setters that set appointments for me and the salesperson. So I close some, he closes some, but they're putting appointments on both of our calendars.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's and you're totally correct in this. Now, when you mentioned you got to have leads and you've got to have these things, I know a lot of small business owners go, well, that's why I'm hiring the salesperson. They got to go out and get those leads. I mean, they got to why should I do marketing if in the event that I have a salesperson?
Well, here's the thing. The easiest thing in the world is to get leads, right? But visibility without a plan is a hobby. So I want you to generate leads, but then you have to have a way to qualify leads. Because just because somebody downloads something off of your website does not make them a qualified lead. It makes them someone interested in your free information.
That's right.
So
that's right.
You have
it might even be a competitor.
Right. A lot of times that's exactly who it is.
That's right.
So you want to make sure that you create a lead scoring system, a way to qualify your lead. And then if they're qualified, then they get to talk to me. My team knows you book a tire kicker on my schedule, somebody's in trouble for that, right? Because my time is moolah, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very serious about, you have to make sure, do these people have money, before you put them on my calendar. So you have to have a way to politely qualify people for whether or not they can really afford your product or service. And if not, you got to have the downsell, right? You got to have, well, they can buy something. They can join our membership site. They can buy a book, whatever. But we want to make sure that the people that are getting our time are people that are ready to do business. And you don't know that if you don't have a qualifying system. So it's about the leads, it's about the content strategy, then it's about the follow-up system. But look, the relationship begins at the sale.
Yeah.
So then how are you taking care of these people after they buy from you?
That's right.
Because anybody will buy something once. You want them to buy it over and over again from you. And in fact, when a customer comes back and buys from you again, usually they're 60 to 65% more likely to do it. And they'll spend more money the second and third time they buy.
That's right.
And the rail is when this person refers somebody else to you.
That's right.
That's right. Really important. But if you don't take good care of them after the sale, if you put them in, AI automated foolishness, you got to make sure that there's a human they can call if they need help.
That's right.
Certainly want to create FAQs and things for them to find their own answers. But depending on the age of the person, they still want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that there is live chat, means there also is a live person that can jump in there if the issue is more complicated than basic FAQ kind of stuff.
That's right. Let me say this. This is a common mistake. I've made it as a younger entrepreneur. Hopefully I don't make it now, but this will happen a lot of times when a small business decides, okay, we need a salesperson, or maybe we need an additional salesperson to add to our team. They will often look around and maybe somebody that's a friend of theirs, they play tennis with, they play golf with, they know from the restaurant they go to, that goes, oh, I'd love to sell for you. And it's their friend, maybe it's their brother-in-law, maybe it's a relative. Then they go, oh, sure, okay, come on in here. And they set them up. And before you know it, in 30, 60, 90 days, not only is the sale not working, but it even kills the relationship, right? Talk to us about that.
You really want to make sure that the people that you're hiring in critical roles in your business have experience, know what they're doing. The other thing you got to do too is you got to onboard your salesperson with some tools, right? Yeah. So you've got to create some scripts for voicemail. You got to create follow-up scripts for email. You got to do role playing. Like one of the things that I do in my daily huddles that I have with my appointment centers and my sales team is I listen to sales calls every day and critique them and give them tips on how to handle something. Like every now and again, they'll get on the phone with somebody that says, who is Melinda Emerson, right? So I had to give them an answer for that. So I had to make sure that they could see any ball that somebody might throw at them, they know how to handle it. Right. But you have to do ongoing sales training every day. Every single day, you got to be listening to calls. Yep. You got to critique folks. And if you don't know how to sell as the business owner, you need to go get sales training, because at the end of the day, everybody's job is to sell in a business, especially yours as the business owner.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, as a business owner, what I'll often do is to jump on a call with one of the sales associates that we have to say, hey, what's your next call? Oh, it's at 3:00. Great. I want to sit in on that. I want to jump in and participate in it. And then they get a feel for what my pitch sounds like, how I answer some of the questions, and then it also has the customer or the prospect feeling good as well that the president of the company jumped on to talk about their needs and what have you. But it seems to work well. I know that the salespeople get a lot out of it.
Oh no! When people get really excited when they get a chance to talk to me on the phone, because otherwise, some of them have seen me on your show or they've seen me online, but they've never had a chance to talk to me. So there's definitely a little star factor when people
of course.
Right? But you just want to make sure that you don't just do that for everyone. That the people that they really think are going to close, or the people that they get to talk to me. For sure.
What is your take on, and this happens a lot, as you know, what happens when somebody comes in that you feel really good about? They're like, wow, this person is organized, they're on LinkedIn, they're checking all the boxes, right? And they come in and they say, but hey, here's the deal. I mean, I need at least $100,000 a year guarantee. Okay. I hear what you're saying. I'm going to make commission. I'm going to make this. I'm going to make that. But I got to be sure that I can pay my bills if I'm going to join your organization. And of course, so many times small business owners think this person is the answer. We got to scratch together whatever we got to get together, 5, 8, 10,000 a month, and bring this person on, only to find out that, like you said earlier, the biggest sale was to you, not the client, right? What is a small business person to do when they're faced with that offer?
Well, here's the thing. I think there are levels of sales support you may need, right? Yeah. So you may need appointment setters. Yeah. Those are, fairly low cost folks that work on the phones, right? Then you may need a closer. And I don't believe in paying closers base salary. I pay commission only, but I give them a healthy commission, like a 20% commission. Yeah. Like that. If I'm hiring actual salesperson, and I have all the ranges of these people that work for me, I don't believe in paying salespeople more than a base of like $40,000. Okay. I just won't. Okay. I make their commissions worth it. I pay for other things that they have to do where the work. Yeah. But I don't pay salespeople $100,000. I don't do it. Yeah. I've done it. Got hoes doing it, so I don't do it. You gotta kill what you eat, and that is just. I mean, you just don't incentivize people to work really hard when you pay them all the money. I couldn't agree more. I hope small business owners are listening to us have this conversation, because I think so many of them get tied up and sold on that concept of, hey, I'm a big time salesperson. I'm going to change your life, but I'm going to need a guarantee up front. You're almost paying them. You're almost guaranteeing that they're not going to work, right? That's the guarantee. Well, especially if you don't have sales systems in place to check their work, right? To make sure they made 30 calls yesterday or proposals or whatever. Like, you can't just take their word for it. Like, that's crazy. So you want to make sure that until you become really experienced with sales yourself, that you have systems in place to support them, but also to protect you. Because the other thing that can happen is if your salesperson owns all the relationships and you don't, well, they could leave with your clients in their pocket if you don't have track.
Very good point. Very good point.
When they talk to them, what that cell phone number is, what that email is, you need that in your system so that you can never be held hostage, by a salesperson that maybe might not be working out.
Wow.
Right.
So true.
Just want to protect yourself. But I'm really so excited to talk to you about this stuff, Jim, because I have developed a new sales training program called the
Let's hear it.
Boot Camp, and it is a 6-week program that trains people how to sell. I am tired of coaches and consultants that do not know how to sell, so I built a program just for them, and it's a rolling program with our business. So if people head over to SmallBizLadyUniversity.net,
we're showing all the information on the screen right here, right now.
/boot camp.
Love it.
SmallBizLadyUniversity.net /boot camp. They can get all of the information. We have payment plans, we have financing, but you guys need to learn how to sell. Because if you know how to sell, you can always make money. And so that's what we want to teach. I don't want small business out here to be afraid of anything. If you got an email list, if you got cell phone numbers, baby, you can make a sale. And I want to teach you how to do that in my Small Biz Lady Sales Accelerator Boot Camp. And that's what I'm doing these days.
Well, and for people that are watching, this is something I highly recommend. So many people run out, they open up a small business, they've never really been trained on how to sell. If you're going to learn how to sell, there's nobody better to learn from than somebody that's been in the trenches and has built their own successful companies, Melinda Emerson. So we've got all the information on the screen here as to how you can get a hold of her, and including right underneath this video, there's going to be a link directly to this program. And as I said, I highly recommend for small business owners and medium business owners to take this. This is a vital part of your growing your business in 2025. And so thank you so much for sharing that with us. Melinda Emerson, CEO of Quintessence Group, small business expert, the Small Biz Lady, and of course, a best-selling author. So we love when you come in. Thank you so much for all the time you've given us. Again, you're one click away. Right below this video is a link as to how to get participate in this program. And it can change your life in business. So do it today. Melinda, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so excited to hang out with you again, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Let's do it again soon.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.